Hi, and welcome to another edition of Tea with Dave. Today we have a special treat, a local musician who's toured all over and he's played with some of the greatest. Today our special guest is none other than J.W. Jones. Welcome.
Hey man, great to be here. Thank you so much.
I know things have been pretty difficult for local artists. No more live performances in front of live audiences. A lot of things had to kind of move online. So yeah, tell me how have you been keeping busy the last little while, and what have you been up to?
Well, I mean, the main thing that's been keeping me busy is concentrating on a new project. What happened was before the pandemic hit, I was considering releasing a big band EP, and I was thinking, put a couple tunes together or whatever. But as this hit, I was like, all right, this is sounding really good. I need to actually make a full length recording out of this, make an official release rather than just an EP. So I bought some recording software and I started recording my own vocals and my own guitar. And my drummer, Will Lorrain, started recording drums from home, and my bass player, Jacob Clark, started recording bass from home. So we've been working hard on creating this new album, and it's coming along really well. And I'm just starting to figure out how to roll it out now and when to do so, because I mean, it's kind of a weird thing. I want people to hear it as soon as possible, but also if no one's going to purchase it at live shows, then it's this whole weird balancing act. But it sounds incredible. We've got a 13-piece horn section on the record, and
That's awesome.
yeah, and keys, bass guitar, drums, vocals. So lots of backup vocals. My wife Britt sings on some tracks, and even got my little daughter Nixon, who's 16 months old, to do a little audio sample that became sampled in one of the tracks. So we're having a good time with it.
That's awesome. So for anybody who is not aware of J.W. Jones, I know I see blues in the background, but how would you describe your music?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of brand as high energy blues, and the reason why I like to put that out there, high energy, is because unfortunately there's a strange stigma with blues music where people think it's sad and slow, but thankfully with programs like Blues in the Schools from the Ottawa Blues Fest, we can go into schools and teach kids that blues is not always sad and slow. It can be fast, it can be upbeat, happy lyrics, and it really expresses all the emotions. But getting back to what we do specifically, high energy blues, I play guitar and sing, and we usually tour as a trio, and just try to get people dancing and keep things up tempo as much as possible, even though we do play some low down blues. But high energy blues, that's what we do.
And what would you say is one of your most memorable Ottawa performance?
Oh man, that's a good one. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is probably playing with Buddy Guy at Meridian Theaters at Centerpoint. Crazy backstory to that, actually. I ended up sitting in with him for 2 nights, and the reason why was because I was playing in Chicago at Buddy Guy's club, and he was there, and we came off stage, and he said, "Man, I love the way you play. I love the way you play that BB King stuff," and he was just super nice. And I said, "You know what? You're going to be in Ottawa in the next 10 days or a couple weeks." I said, and before I could say the next thing, he said, "Oh, well," and he's holding me like in his arm, and he goes, well, then you're going to come and play with us, right?" And I said, "Okay, sure." He goes, "All right, we'll see you there. You're going to come play with us." And I thought, this can't be for real. And I was on tour in the US, so we weren't going to be able to be there to see the show anyway. Anyway, the next day I wrote an email to his manager and said, "Hey, Buddy said this. Is this true?" And I got an email right away saying, "Yeah, he wants you there. He wants you on stage." So I was like, all right. So I rescheduled a bunch of my US dates, got home. We drove like 2 days straight from Houston. And I remember literally getting home the day of the show, pulling in, changing, getting all my gear sorted out, going out to Centerpoint and making it for sound check. And so I was able to sit in with him for 2 nights on a few songs at the end of each night.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So you've mentioned BB King. Who are some of your musical influences and people that you have really inspired the way that you play?
Yeah, well, BB is definitely my number one for sure. I mean, as a guitar player and as a singer, just unbelievable. I saw him for the first time when I was 15 at the Civic Center here in Ottawa. And back then he was standing up on stage the whole show. And, you know, I was 15, so, you know, it was 95. And so he was really on point big time. I mean, his guitar playing stayed on point pretty much his whole career, but he was singing, he was up there standing. It's a whole different vibe, you know, when you see a performer standing versus sitting. But that's what basically got me into guitar, because before then I was playing drums. And when I saw BB on stage, I was like, all right, I have to try to play this guitar. I had an acoustic guitar at home, and a friend of mine started, you know, teaching me some chords and things like that. So I'd say BB is my number one. And then after that, Jimmy Vaughn from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, you know, huge influence. Of course, he went on to have a bunch of solo albums as well. But yeah, I remember so many hours studying BB, Jimmy. And it's been really cool with Jimmy Vaughn, because over the last couple of years, I've kind of gotten to know him a little bit better. And I went down to Austin to hang out with my friend Kaz Kazanoff from the Texas Horns. And I was there about a year earlier, and then I was just there in February, and ended up backstage at the Paramount Theater. And then Jimmy Vaughn walks in, and he was one of the guests on the show, this big show, this Texas Hall of Fame show. They were inducting T-Bone Walker, and Jimmy's sitting down, and I'm sitting there. He goes, "Man, grab one of my guitars." So I pulled out one of his Stratocasters, sat down, and we're just both sitting there for like an hour and a half before he's going on stage, just playing guitar riffs. I got him to show me a couple things and just talking, and you know, shooting the breeze with everyone in the room. And man, that was really, really cool. So Jimmy's my up there for sure. But man, there are so many, you know, Kim Wilson, the singer from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, going back, is a big one. Little Charlie Beatty, who just recently passed away. Anson Funderburg, Hubert Sumlin, Albert King, Albert Collins, Junior Watson. I mean, the list is crazy. It just goes on and on. There's so many different players that have influenced me, whether it's vocals, singing, or guitar players, you know. But yeah.
And if there's a young aspiring musician that's listening to this interview, obviously practice is an important tip, but what else would you share with them?
To practice a lot, for sure. And if you're digging into a specific style of music, then you have to go back to the roots. I really strongly believe that. You know, even if you're playing rock guitar and you want to, or country or anything, you got to go back to the roots to get some of those original recordings and those ideas in your head. Because if you start from there, then you start to see where everything comes from. And especially in blues, there are a lot of players today that they go back as far as, you know, someone like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, you know, Stevie was listening to Albert King and Hubert Sumlin and Buddy Guy and B.B. King. And if you go and listen to those guys, you see where Stevie got the ideas from, and how the way he plays is his voice and his version of what he's taken from them. Well, you know, you can do the same and go back and listen to those guys. And I mean, I listen to Stevie a lot, of course, and I don't think I sound anything like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but we both listen to the same guys, you know.
That was J.W. Jones, everybody. That was a really enlightening chat. I really, really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. And if we can have you in December, that's going to be fantastic. And then if for some reason we have to reschedule, we look forward to having you as soon as possible.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much for the chat. I enjoyed it.
Thanks. Yeah, you bet.